Let's take a look at the 7 fastest growing vegetables for your spring garden. Now, all winter long, we have been eating and depleting the store of vegetables that we packed in there just for that purpose. And now that spring is rolling around, we want to get some vegetables in the ground that are going to allow us to have an early harvest so we can get more of those fresh vegetables as quickly as possible. And so in this video, we're going to talk to you about some of the fastest vegetables from start to harvest. Now, as an added bonus, all 7 of the vegetables that I'm going to talk to you about today can be grown as microgreens, which means technically you could harvest each of them to eat within 7 to 14 days of planting. And so that's another way to speed up your spring garden. If you want some of those extra dense nutritional vegetables, and microgreens really bring that nutritional density, then each one of these today can be grown that way, and you can enjoy them as quickly as under 2 weeks. Now, when it comes to speed, you'd be hard-pressed to find a vegetable that grows faster than the radish, with harvests available as quickly as about 25 days. And it loves cool weather, so we can get it planted here in Zone 5 as early as late March to early April. And some varieties actually bolt more easily than others in the heat, so getting them started early is a good thing. And you direct sow these outdoors. And even if you're somebody who, like me, never liked radishes bought from the store, this is a different experience. This is a vegetable that's not only healthy for you, but it has a large variety of flavors. So some are spicier than others, but it's easy to grow, it's fast to grow, and that means you can get multiple plantings even in a short growing season. And radishes taste great fresh, cut up in salads, and not only that, but they are excellent in dishes and steamed. And if you find that your variety is bolted, well, don't worry, you can also eat the seed pods from the radishes as well. Lettuce is one of the easiest vegetables to grow in cool weather, and it definitely gets you off to a great start with harvests of those young leaves as early as about 30 days. And so if you're looking to add fresh vegetables to your diet, lettuce just makes sense. It is easy to eat, easy to prepare, a simple washing, and you have a salad right there for you. And that 30 days to harvest is just the beginning, because lettuce, unless it's way too hot outside and it bolts, lettuce will last a long time as a cut and come again vegetable. So you can get many harvests from a single plant as it continues to grow during your season. And you can sow your lettuce directly into the ground as soon as the soil is workable, which means it's going to provide a great early harvest to your spring garden. And if you have space indoors, you can even start your lettuce indoors to transplant outdoors to get yourself even farther ahead. Spinach seems to almost always make its way into these lists, and I guess that's because it's not only very nutritious and very easy to prepare in different ways and to store, but it is a quick grower. You can start harvesting smaller spinach leaves as quickly as 30 days after planting, and just like lettuce, it makes a great addition to that lettuce salad, but just like lettuce, it is cut and come again. Pull a couple of leaves off, let the rest of it continue to grow, and it thrives in that cooler weather. You'll find that some vegetables do better in cold weather. In fact, they taste better in cool weather. For some reason, it sweetens them up. And with spinach, you can direct sow that in the ground once the temperature of the soil hits about 40 degrees. So another great cool weather crop to take advantage of for your spring garden. Now, while spinach is not high maintenance, one thing to keep in mind is, just like lettuce, if it gets too hot outside, it becomes a little bit bitter and it will bolt. And maybe that's a problem, maybe not, because then you can collect the seeds. But that's something to keep in mind for this quick growing vegetable. Next up, we've got beets, and that's another cold tolerant vegetable that you can plant a few weeks before the last frost. Now, the beetroot itself can take up to 2 months before it develops fully, before it really, we'll call it, bulbs up. But you can start eating the delicious leaves from a beet plant within 30 to 35 days of planting. Now, you do want to be careful with that, because if there are too many beet leaves taken off, then the root will never actually bulk up the way you want it to, because the plant needs to gain energy from the sun and it needs leaves in order to do that. But those leaves are tasty and they are fantastic raw, and they're fantastic steamed or prepared in dishes. And we've done a couple of videos on different methods for growing beets, and we recommend you checking them out because we've had some pretty great success with that. And since it's such an early crop, something that you can enjoy while it's still growing, it's an excellent addition to our quick-growing vegetables. Swiss chard. Now, Swiss chard has to be at the top of the list when it comes to beautiful leafy greens, especially if you're looking at that rainbow chard. Those colors are vibrant, they are exceptional, and in my opinion, this is one of the most delicious leafy greens out there. Swiss chard handles cool weather just fine, which means that you can plant it 2 to 4 weeks before the last frost, and it only takes about 35 days before you can start harvesting off some of the smaller leaves. Just like many of the other greens that we've talked about today, you harvest off some of the smaller leaves, allow others on the plant to continue developing, and the end result is you start the harvest early, but you're going to be able to continue that harvest throughout the life of the plant, which can last several months. And Swiss chard is not only versatile when it comes to how you eat it after you've harvested it, but you can grow it in just about any place we've found, including vertically, like in our green stalk vertical garden, or in containers, or in your regular garden bed. Am I the only one that thinks that Swiss chard smells like hay when it's cooking? Let me know in the comments what you think. The next vegetable is kale. Now, kale can be planted outdoors well before the last frost. In fact, we've had kale come back over winter for that second year. And some people, depending on your growing zone, will be able to grow it all year long. But kale can be harvested, the small leaves of kale can be harvested within about 35 days of planting. That's a really quick start to a vegetable that can last, in our cases, we've had it grow as long as 8 or 9 months of the year that we've been able to feed off of the same plants. And the last fast-growing vegetable is peas. Now, from an outsider's point of view, this may not look like one of the fastest growing vegetables because it typically takes about 60 days in order to get to a point where we're harvesting the actual pea pods. However, the reason I put this one on the list is because peas happens to be one of our absolute favorite microgreens, and it's a microgreen that develops between 10 to 14 days, and you can do multiple cuttings where you eat the leaves, the stem, everything from the pea plant. And so it's one of our favorites, and it's certainly one that you can continue eating throughout the season as the actual plant that you're growing outdoors continues to grow. And when we talk about nutritional value, those microgreens for the peas are incredibly nutritionally dense. Just like most microgreens, you're looking at 3 to 4 times at least the nutritional value that you get out of the mature plants. And so we had to put this one on the list because it's one that you can start harvesting and start enjoying, again, within 2 weeks of planting while the rest of your plants are continuing to grow. Wow, we've created a really nice salad for you today, I would say. I think this is probably one of those where you could take every single one of these, put them together, and make a delicious, nutritious meal within about a month of starting your garden. When it comes to getting your garden started for the spring, you have a ton of options out there, but we hope that some of these fast-growing vegetables make your list, and we'd love to hear from you which of the fast-growing vegetables you like the most. So leave us a comment and let us know. We hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, don't forget to give us a like, leave us a comment, remember to share and subscribe, and most importantly, remember, when you're with us, you are good to grow.